All right, we are back, and Thursday morning. So yeah, the rhythm of that party. If you're coming out to that party, we're gonna be watching the Xavier Texas game. Well, that's going on. I mean, that's gonna be a blast. But then Thursday morning, we wake up, and boy, do we start with the banger. The Creighton Blue Jays taking on the Louisville Cardinals. Louisville disrespected with an 8 seed, but they're putting Lexington, Kentucky. You know, Lexington will be lit with Louisville fans. Louisville's laying 2.5. Louisville laying 2.5. The over under at 145.5. Actually, I see it at 144.5. So it's dipped a point in the past hour. Guys, I know we're already saying, people are saying it's bullshit that Auburn is going to have to play Louisville in the second round in Lexington. In Lexington, and Louisville will have the home environment. The only problem is that's not going to happen. Because Creighton is going to beat Louisville in that lit environment. Cockbrenner's turned a page. He's a beast this year. I'm still a little foo-foo on Louisville. Great season year one. But I'm not buying it. Give me these Jays to go into Lexington and get it done outright. Mac, what are you doing here?
Yeah, we're on the same side here. I'm on the Blue Jays, man. I think they don't have an answer for Kalkbrenner here, and Ashworth and company. They've played in a lot of big games in this NCAA tournament, and I know it's going to be a road game, but they just got done playing on the road at St. John's, at UConn, in the Garden. So I don't think they're going to be intimidated by this environment. And Louisville was okay whenever they stepped out of the ACC. I think they're propped up because the ACC was bad. So give me Creighton here to get this done with this experience and Kalkbrenner. Go Jays.
What, plus 125, 130 on the money line? I don't even need the points. Bieniek, what are you doing here?
Yeah, I have this. I'm just going to retweet a lot of what you guys both said, and I'll go a little bit deeper on the non-con since it's my turn to talk. They were 8-5 in the non-conference. The ACC was so bad this year. Go and look at the trend and the records in their non-conference, but they were able to just kind of walk right through this thing without multiple starters that they lost for the entire year. And I think that's more of a negative towards how bad this conference was this year, that, in year one, Pat Kelsey was able to go 18-2 in the regular season rather than how good this Louisville team is. And sure, I'm more than likely, if this happens and they win and it's home crowd, I'll eat my words. But right now I think Creighton gets it done.
What do you think this home crowd will be? Because you have Kentucky fans within this city, so I do think there'll be a more Creighton fans than we think. But I'm guessing like what 75-25 Louisville fans. What do you think, Mac?
Yeah, I would say 75-25. Well, because also I know they're not in the same session, but you got the Vols later in the day too. So I don't know who the Vols would root for. Something tells me they won't root for Louisville just because Kentucky and Tennessee can't agree on anything. But yeah, I think there will be some Big Blue Nation that will just go there just
in spite. Yeah. What do you think, Patrick?
Interesting. Well, Steve Ashworth's kid goes to Tennessee, doesn't he? He's like 25 years old. How old is Steve Ashworth, for crying out loud?
He's been in college forever.
My God, he's been married for 8 years. And what the hell is going on out there? I think Louisville is also got a big chip on their shoulder. I think they got more of a chip on their shoulder than North Carolina. North Carolina was gifted. Louisville does not deserve this seed. I mean, yes, they are playing at home, but it's a joke of a seeding. Like, I know the ACC was down. Clemson was good. They beat Clemson. Yeah, it was a bad no call at the end. They beat him. That was a great one too. When they asked him what put Clemson over, Clemson. He keeps going, Clemson beat Duke, and they just measured up better. Louisville was 2-0 against Clemson. What do you mean they measured up against them? What are we measuring?
Unbelievable.
So I like this Louisville squad. These sometimes how Creighton can be. Sometimes when they're away from home and they're not hitting their shots, they can go cold and it looks bad against anyone. Look at the double overtime game. They were barely loved against DePaul in the first round of the Big East tournament, where they luck boxed their way to that victory. And I like Creighton. I'm not here to sun slander on Creighton, but I think Louisville is going to have an extra chip on the shoulder. And let's just say when you see the right from Nebraska and Louisville, there's going to be a bit of a cultural gap. Yeah, it is big time. Little cultural gap between these two. Give me Louisville. Give me an angry Louisville team to get things done. And maybe Creighton goes cold.
Shout out to Willie saying, "Love you on this show, Bet Detective." Right?
I know we had to move some things around. Shout out to Noah for moving graphics up and down. He was cursing me left and right for the surprise appearance.
Bet Detective was on. We were actually going to start on time. I had
throw me under the bus. I'll take it. I got because you guys are on time every other show.
Yeah, I had jumped in here 13 minutes prior to showtime, and Colby was actually in here 11 minutes, and then I saw that on Colby's screen was CJ, and I was like, "Fuck!" So I got to work on.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. No, oh, good God.
The only thing worse than Bubba Cunningham is the fucking Bet Detective.
It's nothing against CJ. It's that damn studio because you got to have a big screen for
right.
Yeah. And once again, we apologize for CJ's language.
I mean, I think that Creighton Louisville game though, what a banger to start.
It's a great game, and Louisville did get screwed, but like you said, these are some of the best matchups we've seen in the tournament.
This is the best tournament.
And that comes from bad seeding, but it's games I want to watch.
Yeah,
I also come from it. I also think it comes from a lot of the higher seeds in the mid-major conferences won their conference tournament. There are going to be a lot of live teams in these.
No bid stealers.
I'm not sure if you guys tackled this. I didn't listen to your guys' show yesterday. No disrespect. I was only on the plane for 10 hours. Just decided to watch that Stallone retrospective. But I was curious, you guys' thoughts on this whole, I think this field, when you look at it, is pretty damn open as far as some of these matchups. When normally you go through and you write in your obvious ones. And I did that. I only had 7 or 8 of those where I feel like normally you have 15 or 16 ones that you love.
Yeah.
Yeah. You feel that I think this is the best actual bracket that I've seen, as far as matchups for an opening round that I've seen in a long time, maybe ever. Mac, I know this is a sore subject with you, but do you agree with that assessment minus one team?
Well, I thought they fucking butchered a bunch of other seeds too. By the way, VCU, if they had lost the championship game, would have been out of the field with the way that they had them seeded. Yeah. So
that's true.
And St. Mary's being as low as they were, I thought was a joke. But there's some headlines. I mean, we'll get to Bill Self-versus Calipari here in a little bit.
Oh yeah, love that one.
They crowbarred a couple TMZ games in that 7:30 window, and they got that Saturday night spotlight game already penciled in on who they want.
Yeah,
that St. Mary's seating is awful. I mean, that's just awful. Good Lord. And Michigan, not that I'm a Michigan fan, but I feel bad for them. I mean, nobody watches it. That's just say we don't care about that Big Ten conference. I mean, it happens a half hour before Selection Sunday's over.
San Diego State loses to Boise, and they're like, San Diego State's in.
Yeah, I had the hardest time trying to even explain and rationalize why Michigan was a 5 seed to my dad. He doesn't comprehend that, the committee already is so lazy that they make the bracket on Thursday, and Friday, Saturday, and Sunday's games don't mean a thing. He's like, they need to move the game up 2 hours before selection show begins. That doesn't matter, Dad. They need to move the game to Saturday. That way they have Sunday.
Well, it's all travel. Dad. It's all travel plans. Like travel agents. It's like they work for Orbitz. Yeah.
They're busy picking their lunch. They're saying, should we get the ham sandwiches today? You guys like the ham sandwiches last year?
Bring in the cake.
Boise's up? Whatever.
What the committee had to look at, right? Because Michigan had played the 3 straight games, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah.
But a lot of times, I think the bracket is made Thursday. The last 3 games that Michigan played, 3 straight losses. Out of the last 6 games, they were 2-4. They lost to Michigan State, Illinois, Maryland, Michigan State again. All those teams, top 6 seeds in the bracket. So they were like, you know what? Michigan's a 5 seed right now. In the last 3 games where they all were quad one neutral wins, they didn't matter. So
no, you're giving these corrupt, lazy motherfuckers away. You think they looked at their last 6? They were saying, I got 104,000 reasons why North Carolina's field. And old Bubba is running the show. And, Lucas after the fucking.
I can't.
They weren't worried about Michigan's fucking last 5 record or anything. Michigan got hosed though.
Mac is going to tie him up Clark Griswold style. Get his boss. Get Bubba tied up in the basement. Tell our family why. Yeah, why'd you ruin my family's march?
You explain it to my mom.
Tires and thumbs.
That game's great. I love that opening game, and that goes right into this one. High Point, Purdue, Providence, Rhode Island. Purdue's laying 7.5. The over/under at 153.5. This is a tricky one for me, man. This is one where High Point. I thought early in the year in a couple of high showcase games they weren't as good as I thought they were going to be, but they did beat UAB. They did beat UAB, and I remember being surprised at that a little bit. I thought UAB was going to get them. They did lose to Greensboro, and they took down North Texas. But Purdue on the other side, they've been a mess kind of the end of the season. 7.5 points is a lot of points. I will take High Point in the points, but I think Purdue wins this game. Mac, what are you doing here?
You know, I think everybody knows I love to bet dogs, but I think I'm going to surprise people. I'm taking Purdue. I think Purdue's going to win by double digits and blow it open late. I don't see how High Point slows them down defensively. So I think also, yes, Purdue has choked big time in this tournament, but I think when you got veteran guards like they do now, Braden Smith was a part of that team. Fletcher Lawyer was a part of that team. Kaufman Wren was a part of that team. I think they remember that. I don't think they're going to sleepwalk through this. I think they win by 10 to 12, and I'll trust this. I'll trust the best point guard in the country, Braden Smith, to get it done for me.
Bieniek, what are you doing here in Providence, Rhode Island? Lovely Providence, Rhode Island, they say.
Yeah, Providence, Rhode Island is the place to be for Thursday and Friday. This one, I'm taking High Point on the money line. The guys give me a ton of shit for being, just a big voice for Purdue and how much I like the Boilermakers. But I think this is really not an ideal matchup for Purdue. I start off with this. Yes, Purdue has the best point guard in this game, but High Point has plenty of high major down transfers on this team. They are deep. Purdue is not. They have 3 guys in TKR, Braden Smith and Fletcher Lawyer. Outside of that, they're young, inexperienced, and it's been the big flaw of this team. Right now, off the bench, the 6th man for this High Point team is Bobby Pettiford, who played for 2 years at Kansas.
Oh, he's on my shit list.
But yeah, he was at East Carolina too. I'm just saying,
he's on my shit list.
That is their 6th man of this team. They also have a 7-footer in Bodo, who's going to be able to slow down TKR. I'm not saying he's going to totally body up Trey Kaufman-Wren and slow down this Purdue offense. I'm just saying they have the tools to match up with the Boilermakers. And I think that this is a game where we know that the trend is there against Matt Painter in these first round upset spots and even a 15 seed knocking them off in the Sweet 16. I'll take High Point to not only cover, but win.
Ooh, I like that.
Whoa, what the hell's going on? I picked Purdue to cover, and Bieniek took.
I know. Bieniek's always the Purdue backer with Matt Painter.
Roles are reversed over here, Bieniek.
I shouldn't say always the Matt Painter backer, because I do remember being, several whiskeys deep and having this bird chirping in my ear throughout every casino in Vegas.
Thank you for mentioning this. Pour one out for Tobin Anderson. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Fired from Iona in just a second. Who does Iona think they are? Right?
They were
just because they had Patino, like they just think they're going to coast into the tournament every year.
They think they deserve Patino.
They were only like 2 games above 500 against MAAC play, and they spend by far the most money on their roster year in and year out in the NIL era with Rick Pitino and now Tobin. That was not good enough.
We got to the championship game
for having
man. You don't fire him after his second
2 years. Come on, you gotta at least have a third year. Bet Detective. You're a big fan of the Purdue Boilermakers. You spent some time in West Lafayette.
I was going to be a pilot. I was going to be an engineer over there in that fucking school.
Big Brian Cardinal guy.
I know. I tell you what, Mac, this is a good time to get in on Purdue. The line opened up at 9.5, and everyone is on High Point. It seems like, and it came down obviously to 7.5. It's not a bad time to do a little buyback. I kind of see where you're coming from, but I still think this line should be around 4. Like I just think I like this High Point team, and I think like Noah said, this is a bad matchup for them. Things are gonna be happening in Providence. Shout out to the Foxy Lady Adult Club, strip club, who has Legs and Eggs, the world famous Legs and Eggs at Foxy Lady in Providence, Rhode Island. So I know Ricky Pitino might be up there as he waves past stores on his way up there.
But counting down 7, 6, 5.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
What was the name of that place again?
Foxy Lady. is the name of the place.
Foxy Lady.
But
So-
Legs and Eggs is a famous Friday morning. They do it's actually a legitimate good breakfast. You would think it's not, but they bring in the it's like a hotel continental breakfast, and you're up there and you're eating, and the ladies are talking to you with.
I ate everything. I ate pussy, I ate the butt, I ate every motherfucking thing. Yeah, right?
The only thing on my mind, Gene, was pussy.
But I'm not. I'm not laying these points with Purdue. Even if it is coming down to 7.5, I still want to take them with High Point. I think it's a tight game. It's a couple possessions. So, but I do think Purdue wins it for sure.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, between this and the Creighton Louisville game to start off the day, I don't know which one I want to watch more. I mean, both are great. They're going to be going on at the same time. 20 minutes apart. Which one are you looking forward to more, Mac?
I think that Creighton Louisville game, just because of the contrast in styles. Louisville wants to spread you out, shoot up threes, and then Creighton wants to just play through Kalkbrenner. So the contrast, I think I'll take that one.
Shout out to I saw the chat saying they're a big fan of the Foxy Lady.
It's world famous. The Legs and Eggs is world famous. Foxy Lady, and the NBA, the ballers all go there. Trust me, Pitino will be there. I can guarantee.
Has already been there.
That is a minus 250 bet.
They got his picture on the wall. Bieniek, which one are you more excited to watch out of those two?
Oh, I'm locked into the Providence site the entire day. So I think all of those games are loaded.
There we go. All right, let's jump over to the next game. The Montana Grizzlies. Could this be the year? They are headed to Denver, Colorado to take on the Wisconsin Badgers. Badgers laying 16.5. 16.5. Look, I understand the Big Sky's been shit in the NCAA tournament of late, but I just think this is an insane number for a Montana. I think I said this throughout the season watching Montana. This is the best Montana team I've ever seen. Now that I don't know what that really means, but I do believe it's a really good team. I feel like the Big Sky is more. They're getting more athletes than they ever have before. And I don't know if that's NIL or what, but like when I watch, I'm like, hey, they don't just have a bunch of Brian Cardinals.
Yeah.
But. It's a big ass number. I got to take the points. Here. 16.5. Montana's going to have that crowd. That's not that far away. Montana's
I'm with you, Colby. Like I'm taking the points, and to your point too, this game is in elevation. So Montana plays in elevation, and they're getting 18.5. Or what's the current number at?
16.5.
Yeah.
So it's down to 16.5. I still think that's too many. Wisconsin's off of 4 games in 4 days where they played. I mean, it felt like every game was a freaking slobber knocker down to the wire rugby match. I just think Montana, historically a good program. No one knows they played Michigan a couple times. The number usually landed around 15 to 20. I think Wisconsin wins by like 12. I don't think they're going to lose. But, I mean, Montana, you look at it, they went to Utah State earlier in the year, another elevation spot. And I'm not saying Utah State is Wisconsin, but there's some similarities. And they kept that game close. So give me Montana and the points here.
The guards of Montana this year are pretty damn good with Malik Moore and Money Williams. And then the, what's it, Pridgeon, I think it is. Noah, what are you doing here in Denver?
Yeah, both of these teams pretty much operate right around middle of the road tempo-wise, and a lot of people seem to be really buying into the Wisconsin dead leg theory. 4 games in 4 days from the Big Ten tournament. You now travel to Colorado in Denver, and you're playing at elevation. So maybe the offense isn't as sharp, and that's something that like they've really relied on this season. They completely transformed their identity. They still have a great defense. And I think that's going to be what helps us cash an under here. I'm going to go under 152.5. The cocktail napkin has it at 147.5. And my pick is going to be on Montana plus the points, but I think Wisconsin wins this one comfortably by 3 possessions or more. But yeah, I think the under is your best look in this game.
Yeah, I don't think Montana's live. I know some people are calling for that. I've seen some people call.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people calling
that's
for that.
Look, remember Wisconsin lost to James Madison last year. I think they've had this one circled. They're going to focus on this. I think Wisconsin, like you said, Mac, I like that 10 to 12, 13, even 14-point win, something like that. How about you, Bet Detective?
James Madison was a better team, by the way, last year. But still,
which they're all at Vanderbilt now.
Yeah, no, I don't want to. All right, I don't want to lay 16.5 with Wisconsin. I'm also not rushing to the window to play Montana.
Their best player went to
though.
Louisville for what it's worth, but a lot of them did follow.
Yeah,
fair enough. But I'm not rushing to the window to play Montana. Although I think I owe them after cashing in on that conference title, plus 285 for them Grizz. I'll take the points. I don't like it. Like you said, when those games, this comes down to the garbage time at the end. If it was a tighter game, I'd definitely love to fade Wisconsin. But I can also see Wisconsin opening up on them in the second half and pulling away. But it could also be sleepy, like the travel spot with everything you mentioned with the travel spot, the 4 games, the slobber knockers, the rock fights in the Big Ten that happens in Indianapolis. Hard to get up to flex your muscles a little bit and open up a 20-point win. So give me the 16.5 and hold on tight and don't watch.
Next up, let's go to SIU Edwardsville taking on the Houston Cougars in Wichita.
Oh God.
28.5 points is what these Cougs are laying right now.
Mm-hmm.
Good God. Now, I will say, was it last year or the year before where a team kept it within like 12, I thought?
It was not last year.
It was not last year because that was also one of the other things I wanted to fade with High Point is the Big South teams have gotten absolutely housed, and Longwood got absolutely bent over by Houston.
The Big South, though, this year was competitive in the non-conference. We were like, this is the best non-con that the Big South has had. So.
Yes. What did Houston win by last year in that?
It was like 50. It was like 50 points. They destroyed Longwood.
86-46, Colby.
I still, I mean, I know it sounds crazy. I still feel like we have to take the points here. I mean, like 28.5. But I do think if it's one team that's just going to lay it on them.
Yeah.
I'm taking the points. I think Edwardsville's not that bad. Give me the points. No, this is when I'm not betting. I will not be betting this game.
29.5 at a place now.
What is it? 29?
29.5 out there.
Colby.
You get it. Yeah.
Colby, Houston played 4 games against competition rated 200 or worse on KenPom. Jackson State, 97-40. Louisiana, 91-45. Hofstra, 80-44. Toledo, 78-49. And that's a good program. They destroy these teams.
It's just a lot.
But let me ask you this: those are all in Houston, Texas.
It's in Wichita.
I'm saying Edwardsville, Illinois. How far is that from Wichita? You gotta have some coming, right? You gotta have some coming, Bet Detective, right?
The team chaperone.
How far is Edwardsville from where?
Wichita.
You ain't gonna have no fucking crowd here.
Yeah, it's pretty close, actually, to be honest.
I don't think it's that far. Someone Google map this fucking thing. Chat, how far is that? If you're an Edwardsville fan, you are D2 recently,
right?
Like, why wouldn't you go? If you're an alum, you're like, this is the greatest thing fucking ever. Wichita, can we check that?
All right, hold on, I'm going to check it for you. I'll be your producer. I'll be your damn producer.
hey, Colby. Here's my final verdict. I'll take Edwardsville in the points because Houston won the Big 12 this year. Last year they got absolutely housed in the tournament game or championship game, and then Kelvin ripped their ass for a week, and then they took it out on poor Longwood.
Yeah.
I think that they win by 25.
I'll say this: it's almost a 7-hour drive. Just as an update, 6 hours 49 minutes, and for Midwesterners, that's like going to the grocery store and back. That is absolutely.
Here's
nothing.
my point.
I'm not willing to bend the knee like Mac is, but I'm not taking you to the Houston spread. I'm taking you to the Edwardsville team total under 48.5. Only one of those teams that I mentioned put up more than 48.5 points. That was the Toledo Rockets, and they put up 49. Edwardsville's offense is ranked 250th or something on KenPom offensively, and they're kind of a one-man show with Rayshon Taylor, watching them in the OVC. So I'm just not buying it. Not buying what Colby's trying to sell.
Well, let me add in this. 2 years ago, Houston was a 1 seed. They played a 16 seed in Northern Kentucky. 63-52 was the final.
Yeah.
Give me the points and the Cougs.
That's a tough 16 seed looking back.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
good. Yeah, Edwardsville's not that, but I agree. Let's go, Colby.
Bet Detective, what are you doing here?
Oh, I'm not even thinking twice. I'm taking the points on here, and I feel good about it. I fade one seeds all the time with this because you're always pay a premium of at least 3 or 4 or 5 points because who's going to not lay it with Houston who are going to want to. This line should be. I think this line should be like 25 or so. I mean, they might win by 40.
29.5.
I know they might win by 40, but just out of principle, I'm taking 29.5 points.
Colby, in that Houston Northern Kentucky game, that was the game that Marcus Sasser left with his groin injury that he re-aggravated.
But still, I mean, okay, fair point. But I'm just saying that they still only won by 11. You're asking him to score 19 more points is the difference in that if you played half that game or whatever?
Northern Kentucky, I think, is marginally better than this SIU team.
But they're going to have fans. They're making the trip. 7 hours is nothing.
7 hours is nothing.
Nothing. All right.
Give me the 29.
Let's go.
And this thing's going to go up to 30. It's not coming down.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'm going to get Colby riled up. How about that one seed that they got Northern Kentucky? They were the AA seed. No respect for you guys that year. Giving you
unbelievable.
That was like a third
fucking believable. Yeah, they're trying to get us to lose that game.
And they're starting to get some respect.
Yeah. Some bullshit in these meetings. All right, next up, and I know I'm just going with these dogs. I just feel like the dogs are biting right now. Don't worry. I'm going to go with another dog here because McNeese is taking on Clemson. I know Will Wade is talking to NC State, the Pussy Pack. That would be a terrible decision, Will. Let me tell you, the Pussy Pack, like bad gig. It just ain't going to happen.
Yeah.
But Clemson's laying 7.5. Once again, Providence, Rhode Island. Now Clemson, the last time they stepped on the hardwood, they had some injuries, right? So I'm curious. We got Dylan Hunter's out for the season. Is Buckner out for the season as well? So that is pretty substantial news. I think both are out for the season.
I know the one Hunter's out.
Yeah, Hunter's out for the year. That's been known.
Which is a pretty.
He's a rotation player. Same with Buckner, for what it's worth.
Well, I mean, depth will matter. I think I mean, I think that could matter. I'm going to take the points in McNeese. Newsflash. I got McNeese winning outright. Yeah. Plus 280. Put that in your pipe and smoke it, you fucks. All right. Mac, what are you doing here?
Yeah, let's go. McNeese, I think from an athlete standpoint, actually has the better athletes with all these high major transfers. I think their speed is going to be able to bother Clemson. Yes, I know Clemson will have the advantage on the inside, but the year after the year, everybody and their brother wanted McNeese against Gonzaga. Now everybody's like, they got killed last year. I'm out on McNeese. No, they learned from that experience. Will Wade address that in the portal this year? They got better team, ready to go. Give me McNeese outright over Clemson.
And the year after the year, they went to the Elite Eight at Clemson last year.
Yes.
Think they don't think like, we got this? Great spot. Bieniek, what are you doing here in Providence?
I think they got this. Give me Clemson. McNeese, sure. Maybe they tried to fill some holes that last year's team may have had, but in the non-conference, lost to Alabama. Sure, they're great, but lost to South Dakota State, lost to Liberty, lost to Santa Clara, lost to Mississippi State. Got in the conference play, they went 19-1. I know doing this a lot for some of these teams isn't like the greatest handicap because it's all matchup based, but this Clemson team is a team that I've really liked the bones of for quite a bit. And I think this year's even better than last year's. And last year they went to the Elite Eight. I mentioned it on last night's show. I think PJ Hall at the end of the last season got into foul trouble way too much and didn't even really kind of play in a lot of these games. Victor Locken is a great rim from presence for them. And Ian Shefflin has basically been PJ Hall just playing the 4. So he's able to stay out of trouble because of that rim front presence. And the defense is better because Joe Girard was kind of a dead eye, but defensively was a little bit lacking at the perimeter. So give me Chase Hunter, Jaden Zachary, and Chauncey Wiggins up there as well as a little bit of an upgrade. I like this Clemson team a lot. We were talking about it on yesterday's show. They're my dark horse out of this region to get to the Final Four.
Bet Detective.
Fuck that. McNeese outright. Let's go. Come on. that bullshit talk. You're
go.
just ripping the ACC and Louisville and who they beat. I tell you, they beat Clemson twice. This garbage ass. No, I like Clemson. It's a nice Clemson team, but I like being. We're a year early on McNeese. This is the one come. We got Will Wade. What are we talking about here? Definitely taking the points. I think it's going to be a battle that Clemson. This is not a matchup Clemson wanted. I mean, but you're right. If they get actually, I think if Clemson gets past this, then they can do some damage. But yeah, they have some injuries. I think McNeese is going to be real tough for him. So give me this. What is it? 7.5?
7.5, and I do think, like Clark's point, I think the crowd will be rooting for McNeese, especially get to that second half.
Yeah,
the crowd
absolutely.
is going to be saying, "Go
Give me
Cowboys."
the candy. This is a perfect Clemson team to get upset too.
This season, I'm targeting a lot of the coaches that are flirting with new jobs. Like I'm targeting against them. I know Brownell's kind of in the Indiana conversation too, so that it's a little bit of a wash here. But specifically with Will Wade, he's a Clemson alum. And was very, very excited when he got this draw. They were talking about it. This is going to be a cool story. I cannot wait for the.
That's what we're talking about.
That's what I'm talking.
You don't think he wants to show all those kids he grew up with that he's the fucking man? That gal that never went with him to the dance? All right, he's going to show her something. What's that?
And real quick to everybody in the chat that's saying that Clemson's just going to blow him out. McNeese went to Mississippi State, lost by 3. They lost at Alabama by 8. They lost to Liberty, who's in the field, by 4. South Dakota State by 7. They're blowout proof. They're going to hang in the game. It's whether you think that they win by like 10 to 12. They're not losing by 30.
And those are good teams. Noah's trying to rip off like God. I can't blame.
They're winning,
especially Liberty.
Yeah,
thank you. There we fucking.
The Weehawks asking me if I'm locking this thing up. You're damn right we are.
Yeah, fuck no. This is against Noah. This is personal. This has nothing to do. What was that game in Vegas? Was that the Yale game? Or no, that was
What was that Purdue? I thought, right? Which game was that? I know what you're talking about.
Yale was happening, but something else was happening on the side where everyone was rooting against Noah.
Noah. Oh, it's Florida, Colorado. Colorado.
Not laughing now, eh?
And
They're the one seed with basically the same roster.
They should have pulled it out too.
Wait till those pictures come out of Todd Gold.
Yeah, they were losing like by 15 points in that game. I stepped into that room and all of a sudden it was going the Gators' way.
Now they came back. I had a Gators ticket. I was ripping it up. I'm like, fuck you, Noah. I wanted to win.
The tides kind of turn. It's easy to see.
I've got a video of
Did I say those words?
Our entire vlog didn't get aired on YouTube. It never even got made. But I've got the video of just 8 different people flipping me off after Florida.
Put that in the Patreon. What are we doing here?
Hey, Go Beams is saying we were doing 8 balls before the show.
What's that? I'm sorry. We had to welcome Colby back to here to Los Angeles, and he wanted to know.
I smoke and I drink, and I don't have stress, and I'm healthy.
And he said, would you like a line? And Colby said,
Utah, give me 2.
Yeah, he won a couple. So here we are. We're doing it, guys. I mean, how else are we going to do every game?
Yeah, we were talking every fucking game. Bet he didn't know what he signed up for. He's like, oh yeah, we're in there. We were already an hour into this.
He goes, we're gonna do the first 4. Yeah, the first 4 fucking days of the tournament. Jesus Christ.
Next up, we are going to Denver, Colorado, where the VCU Rams are trying to ram it against the BYU Cougs. BYU is laying. I'm now seeing this at. I think this has gone up a full point. I am seeing BYU minus 3.5, and it's interesting. When I was first breaking this game down, I completely, spaced out on the location, and I was ready to take VCU. I think VCU is going to catch them, but then I thought the location, once I got reminded about that, is a great element. This will be a BYU crowd, and at elevation, I think that's a real fucking advantage. I will lay. What's that?
Add in Ryan Odom, also flirting with jobs the entire season, for what it's worth. So.
Yeah. There's rumors about him to UVA. So yeah, I'm gonna lay it with BYU. I swear, if this was in Charlotte, if this was in Fort Myers, I would be taking VCU. But I think it's all about the spot here, the location, and the fact that VCU just played a game. Give me BYU minus the 3.5. And finally, a favorite from Dundee. Mac, what are you doing here?
Oh, I'm going with my Rams, man. I've highlighted them for about a month now that I think this team is, and I said it, man. I thought they got fucking shafted on their seed that they're an 11 seed. I think they should be around an 8 or 9. They got 3 veteran guards in Shulga, Jackson, and Bamasil. I think they have the depth in the backcourt to match BYU. I know the game's at elevation, and BYU's used to that. But this is Kevin Young's first NCAA tournament game versus Ryan Odom, who's been there, done that, won big games in this tournament. I like VCU outright. I think VCU brings back that whole team last year. I think they make enough plays, junk it up here, and give me the Rams to knock off the Cougs here out in Denver.
Yeah. Are you gonna lock this, Mac?
Oh yeah, this is one of my favorite plays. I love that.
I'm betting every game.
I'm betting every game, but this is one of my favorite ones. I love VCU.
I'm going to bet majority of the games, but I can't bet that SIU Edwardsville game.
I can. That's one of my.
Maybe I will. I came into this show thinking I no way I'm touching that. Now I'm like, you guys make a good point.
Yeah,
technically you are betting every game. The first half unders, everybody.
That is true. We are taking the first half unders on every single NCAA tournament game. Bieniek, what are you doing here in this matchup in Denver?
Yeah, I already kind of leaked my handicap here. It's anti VCU handicap, mainly because their coach is probably the name of the cycle, and has been since November when Tony Bennett stepped out like a week before the season began. There's been other rumors about other programs and
Villanova. I heard. Yeah, recently.
Villanova. Yeah. So. BYU at elevation. I think the Mormons will show up and show out. So give me the Cougars.
Does he teach the pump fake? That's what Villanova likes. He likes pump fake.
One of the first questions.
Yeah.
Do you teach the pump fake? So Noah's on the Cougs with me. Bet Detective, what are you doing here?
I mean, I have a VCU future to get to the Final Four, which I have taken.
You took a while ago,
yeah,
right? January or something.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's like 85-1. We got another one, 100-1. I hate this matchup versus BYU. I hate this game's going to be great, and I think this line got way too small because people like VCU, and I do too. But what is this at 2.5?
I'm seeing 3.5 now. It jumped up a point.
Still, I mean, this line should be around 6. I'm going to take BYU with the elevation, which I'm ashamed, and I think the winner of this game does a lot of damage and gets them to the Elite 8.
Ooh, there we go. So
either one, I love both. I like both teams. Yeah,
I agree with that. Yeah, I have BYU in my Elite 8, so I would agree with that.
Let's jump over to the next game because we got the Battle of the Dogs here. The Bulldogs, the Georgia Bulldogs in Wichita, Kansas, taking on the Gonzaga Bulldogs. The Zags are laying 5.5, and once again, my chalk returns. I will lay the 5.5 with Georgia, with Gonzaga. I just feel like they're playing really good ball right now. Georgia's a team. Shout out to Snow White for getting them in there. They have 0 tournament experience. I think this is where Mark Hadafew is going to make that point. He's going to say, "Hey, this is what we do. What do we do at Gonzaga? We get the Sweet 16s." But what they have Houston on deck. We'll talk about that later. But Mac, I'm on the Zags. I feel good about this. I'm betting this game. Your thoughts? What are you doing here?
We've been dying on the sword all year with our Zags, but they've come through for us recently. This is the same damn group that went to the Sweet 16 last year with EK, Nemhard, Battle, Hickman, Huff. They have found their identity. They have the experience in this tournament. Mark Few, Mike White, they've overachieved. Happy to be there. I know they're in the SEC, the best league this year, but I think the Zags open it up late here in Wichita. I think they play one of their better games of the year, but their streak of the Sweet 16s is coming to an end because Houston's going to smack their ass next round.
Bieniek, your thoughts on this one?
I haven't bought this Gonzaga foo-foo shit the entire year. I thought this is one of the weaker resumes that Gonzaga has had. Sure, their roster is great because they did go to the Sweet 16 last year with the exact same roster, but they have underperformed. Just watching this team game by game, I don't think they really improved at all throughout the regular season. And even in the non-conference, I don't think they did the type of damage that Mark Few teams typically do. And Mike White is known for doing a little damage in the NCAA tournament. He's never lost a first-round game. I think they cover this. I think they keep it close. Give me the Bulldogs, the Gonzaga, or the Georgia Bulldogs out of Athens, and Mike White.
Good trick there. Give me the Bulldogs. I'll lay it and take it. Try to middle them dogs.
Middle them dogs. I mean, look, he's got a good point with Snow White, though.
One more point to the cocktail napkin likes the over. It's at 155.5 on the napkin, only 150.5 here. So maybe plenty of points.
There we go. Bet Detective, what are you doing here?
I see that too. I think this is too many points to give Georgia. Georgia was a hot team.
Blue Cane.
Yeah, I know, right? Yes.
Blue Cane.
Georgia was a hot team that I was liking. I know they lost that first round. I accidentally bet $2,000 on them to win the SEC tournament. Luckily, the good people at my bookie gave it back to me. But I was.
You gotta love that.
I put in 20. It put it in for 2,000. It automatically accepted it. These savages.
And you didn't know. How long did it take you to notice?
Sure? Would you like to confirm back? No.
Right. Yeah. No confirm. Automatic. Yeah. It said, "Good luck. Do you want a pom because you're gonna have a sweaty first game."
I guarantee you instantly got some like mail shit they're gonna send out to you. Hey, well, welcome to mybookie.ag. Why don't you come become a member?
I know.
CJ thought there was a decimal point in the middle after the first two.
How long did it take you to notice?
Immediately, because my account went from bank to like barely nothing. I'm like, whoa, where'd my money go? And then it said potential win of $220,000. I go, well, that would be nice. I thought about it.
You thought about it, just not, maybe I don't email it.
Yeah, let me screenshot that, put it on X, get some clout, talk to IT, get the check, get it back. Then try to weasel them because they keep the cash out option at $1,500 for my $20 bet. See if I can swindle them there. They were right. They pulled it down. But anyway, and then I was like,
offshore too. That's shocking.
Oh yeah,
offshore. I'm thinking like this dude just bet 20 grand.
No, 100%. They talked about it for a while. Then they scolded me. This is the one time only. All right, my bookie. Don't act like this is a scam I'm trying to pull on you. But then I'm like, God damn, Georgia better not win this thing.
You're like, I thought this was football.
Yeah. That'd still be a bad bet. But I still think 5.5, 6 is too many points. I agree with there with Noah. Like I know Gonzaga got it together towards the end of the season. How painful was that championship game versus St. Mary's there when we were both like 2 for 50. I was on Gonzaga, but good Lord.
Yeah. I mean, so you're riding the dogs.
I'm just going to take the points. I think Gonzaga wins this game, but if you're going to give me 3 possessions worth of points, I want to take it.
There we go.
Yeah, that NIT. What was Mike White's track record with Louisiana Tech too, Mac? He ran that thing there too, right?
Mm-hmm.
So just get him outside of the conference tournament, and he's fine. Conference tournament though, they bit him in the ass when he was the. And
I'm not a great trend guy, but there's a pretty strong 9-8 trend just to take the dogs with the points, and it's come like a high 60% or something like that.
But Fewey's been pretty fucking good in this tournament.
Yeah. That's true.
The other side.
I'm not denying that.
Solid point.
Yeah. Next up, we got Wofford taking on Tennessee. Some more dog on dog action. The Vols are laying 18.5 in Lexington. Good God, this is going to be a Tennessee crowd. 18.5 is a big ass number, but Chalky Dundee is laying the 18.5 against Wofford. I just think Tennessee's too much, especially with Lexington being right up the road. I think they're going to put the clamps on the Wofford offense. And Rick Barnes will get a 27-point win in the opening round. Mac, what are you doing here?
He usually is pretty fucking good in this opening round.
Except that Colgate game.
They were
Colgate
game.
Colgate. Yeah. Went to overtime, I believe.
Was that what year was that?
3 years ago, I think.
22.
Yeah, I think 21. I think.
Last time that they went to the SEC title game, because so this is a different handicap. They just had to play 3 games in 3 days. Do they get up? I mean, I'll take the points with Wofford. Give me Tennessee by 16. I think that I've liked what I saw from them down the stretch from an identity standpoint, and I usually like to take the SoCon dog. So Wofford you're battle tested if you get through the SoCon, in my opinion. Going through Sanford, ETSU, Greensboro, all those teams are competitive in these NCAA tournament games. Get an 18.5. I'll take Wofford.
Bieniek, what are you doing here in Lexington?
I kind of agree with you, Colby. I think that SoCon is kind of a little upset that one of their top 5 teams didn't win this thing. Corey Tripp is a hell of a baller and could keep him in the game if he has a Jack Golke type performance and doesn't miss. But I just don't think that Tennessee's defense is going to allow you to have something like that. I think that they'll be pretty locked down, even if they aren't very offensive. I don't trust Wofford's defense, who is Swiss cheese against everybody and anybody, to slow down Tennessee. So give me Tennessee. I'll lay the points here. And I kind of like the over here.
Over 132.5. I'm seeing 133.5 now, being one up a point.
Yeah. I was just going to ask you what the napkin says on that, because I was leaning under with this one.
Oh, the napkin's got it right on the number. I'm just saying the way that I see it going, I think Tennessee, it's a little bit of a blowout, and Wofford's kind of 40, 50 points.
Not that I have to tell anyone how to first half under it, but I think this is a great first half under play, this Wofford Tennessee game, because I think towards the end is when they could open up the threes and kind of could get away from it. Just because, what's the total? 133 here?
133.
So that's kind of a low scoring game. That's why I'll take the points when it comes to that. But this does seem like a 20-point victory no matter what. So I'll take the points out of principle at 19.5 just because of the low total, just the way that game works. But I like the under here, so I'm going to take Wofford in the under.
Orange whip. Orange whip. 3 orange whip.
All right, next up, we jump over to, what do we got here? The Arkansas Razorbacks taking on the Kansas Jayhawks in Providence, Rhode Island. Two legendary coaches from a national championship standpoint and Final Four standpoint.
You mean these guys?
Yes, those guys right there. Yay! Look at that suit.
Hey, calamari.
Fascinated by this game. Arkansas turned it on late, looked a lot better once the Boogie injury happened, but he's back. I'm hearing, by the way. Yeah. Something to be a little scared about if you're a Razorback fan. Yeah, Kansas been all over the place this year. Man, who do you think the crowd will be rooting for here? If you have Clemson fans there, if you have, what's the other matchup?
Johnny's fans.
It's weird because you probably root for Arkansas, but do you really want to root for Calipari?
That's what I'm saying. It's tricky. It's very, very tricky.
Calipari? Yeah.
They like Calipari up there in UMass area. Versus just Padilla, Travieso. What are we talking about here?
If you get another day of Calipari there, or another 2 days for what it's worth in Providence, the Italian restaurants might.
That's what we're saying here. What are you guys talking about?
So here's the difference for me. Kansas just has way, way too much experience against a young Arkansas team. I will lay the 4.5. I am fascinated by this game. If you're asking me to power rank these games, because I am going to bet this, because I'm just fascinated by the game, but I could see Arkansas winning this on the money line too. But the Kansas I've seen this year is just all over the fucking place. So I don't have a lot of confidence in this play, but I am going to bet Kansas and just blind bet the experience factor. Kansas, one of the most experienced teams in this whole fucking tournament. So give me the Jayhawks, rock chalk. Mac, what are you doing here?
Yeah, I'm on Kansas. And one of the other factors, I think Kansas was just bad in the Big 12 too. You look at what they did in the non-con. They beat Duke. They beat Sparty, both on neutral floors. That's like that's the ACC and Big Ten champ. I think them stepping out of the Big 12 with all that experience. Juwan Harris has been on a national championship, and he's been the starting point guard. I mean, say what you want about Dickinson. He's played in an Elite Eight. KJ Adams, he's played in a Final Four, won a national championship as well as a role player. I'm with you. Rylan Griffin, he played on a Final Four at Alabama last year. And you get Bill Self versus Calipari. I'll take Bill Self. So I'll take the Jayhawks to win by 7.
The disrespect Calipari gets is just incredible. He has as many titles as Izzo. For crying out loud. Yeah. And Calipari can't walk into a building.
Remember.
How many first-round picks has he had versus Izzo?
They were 17 years old, these fucking kids.
Remember the narrative, though. He didn't do it the right way. No, I mean the white way.
He didn't do it.
He didn't have Mike Pepolowski. Right?
I would say they love Patino, the Godfather. He got excommunicated to Greece. Sleeping with his mistress on the floor of a restaurant. Calipari's got a wife who's not attractive, and he goes home to every day. He does things the right way, as I'm trying to say there. Fuck this Kansas team too.
Like you'll fucking.
They are a pain in the ass all year. They are a complete pain in the ass. Bieniek, I'm sorry to skip you, but Bet Detective's already voiced his opinion. Give us more.
I'm sorry.
Once again, we apologize for CJ's language.
You guys are good. Let the show flow how the show flows.
I know we have a rotation going here.
Well,
but
why are you really on Arkansas? Tell the folks.
I got a future on Arkansas too, and I don't mind this bracket. I think, and I actually do think, as much as I talk shit about Kansas has got a lot of talent. They got more talent than that whole little region there. They just don't play together well. They did not.
You're buying
well.
into that poultry money.
And buying that poultry money.
Tyson Chickens.
I know, no kidding. They act like they're like this underdog. They're the third best, most portal money in the country. But I think either Arkansas or Kansas will give. I think either one of these teams will give St. John's a nice little run for their money.
So you're on Arkansas. You're doubling down.
I'm taking it with. Yeah, you go to the wedding, you gotta go to the funeral. Give me the points with Arkansas. Give me the money line with Arkansas. So they tried to write them off. They didn't write back.
Yeah. Bieniek, what are you doing here? Do you agree with the Bet Detective?
Let's rock chalk.
I love it.
During their best stretch of the season for Arkansas, it was kind of the back half of the year when they were racking up quad one win after quad one win in the SEC that was totally loaded. And you know who didn't play during that stretch? It was Boogie Fland. You know who stepped into that role and excelled in that role? It was Johnell Davis. The beginning of the season, Johnell was kind of nowhere to be found, kind of lost in the luster of a lot of other young talent on this team. Let's talk about a guy that went to the Final Four, for crying out loud, on Florida Atlantic. This is a NCAA tournament piece, and now his role is in question once again. He was in double digits in 15 of the games that Boogie Fland missed. You know how many times he was in double-digit point-wise in the games that Boogie was playing in? 7. And you know the competition that they scheduled in Calipari's first year? Dog shit. So I'm taking Kansas in this one. Give me the Jayhawks. Lay it.
Let's go. Next. What's up?
I'm just saying they did come out of the SEC, and I do like mid-tier teams of the power conferences. Like that goes on. Think of your NC State last year.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean. But like your Arkansas, I mean, they played. They lost by 7 to Auburn when Auburn was rolling. Did they beat Alabama at home? I'm trying to remember that.
I think they did, right?
No, they lost by 4.
All right, you're right. 85-81. You're right. They lost by 4, but you know. They've been hot lately, and Kansas should have lost to UCF at home, for crying out loud.
I know they've been all over the place. Tournament.
And I hate Hunter Dickinson's face.
It's just these love letters. He's undefeated since these love letters.
All right, fair enough.
Next up, we got Yale taking on Texas A&M and Denver, Colorado. A&M is laying 7.5. Here's the thing that jumps out to me right away:
flight troubles for A&M.
Oh, flight troubles right there to A&M. Coming into Denver, but also, how about the Ivy the past couple of years? Yale beat Auburn, who was what? That was a 215. Was that 215? Bieniek?
No,
was that 314?
Yeah, 4. Auburn
13.
Yeah.
What was it? The Princeton. What was it? Princeton, Arizona, the year
15
before.
over 2.
Okay, that's probably what I'm remembering.
And then the year before that, Yale won a tournament game too. So,
God damn, the Ivy's been on a roll. Now I understand why you jump on these Friday shows. All right?
And shout out to the Ivy League tournament. Saturday to Sunday, 4 teams, nothing of nonsense. we got school on Monday, 4 teams. Not everyone gets. This isn't a participation trophy. Yale, ship it. Let's go.
I mean, look, I think A&M is going to win this game. They're too experienced. 7.5 is a big fucking number.
This Yale team's good.
I don't like Buzz Williams laying 7.5 ever, really. So give me Yale and the points, but I think A&M is going to win this game. I do not think the money line is live. Mac, what are you doing here?
Yeah, so I mean, they beat an SEC school last year. They beat in Baylor before under James Jones. I'm going to lay it with A&M. I think they blow it open late. I think that it's a deceiving score. But I don't think that they're going to be able to strike twice here in back-to-back years. I don't think A&M's going to overlook them because they beat Auburn last year. They don't have Danny Wolf this year. I know they're pretty damn good still. But A&M, veteran group, they're locked in. They win by 10.
No, I think this group is chomping at the bit. Call it a look-ahead game. but I think they want Michigan in the next round because of the Danny Wolf situation.
Yeah.
I think they are just as good, if not better, than that team last year was with Danny Wolf. And in that Auburn game, Wolf wasn't as much of a factor. Look at the two guys that have really kind of developed on the wing in Nick Townsend and John Poulakaitis. Those two guys have been really good this season, and Bez Bang has his hands more on the ball this season than he did last year because Wolf was the facilitating four. I think this team has a different identity than last year, and A&M, in my opinion, kind of really needs Wade Taylor to show up. And I trust James Jones to be able to scheme up in this game with a couple of days of prep. And Texas A&M, I think I wasn't going to use this in my handicap. Yesterday, I picked Yale to win as an upset pick prior, but not being able to get out there to Denver of all places is a big blow because of the elevation. You don't have that extra day to get accumulated or acclimated. Sorry, not accumulated, acclimated to the conditions. So I like the Bulldogs here.
Yeah, and it was gas problems. Was that what I heard? Like, yeah, right. Yeah, I mean,
shout out
what's
to the
going on?
On3 graphic. I tweeted that out.
Who forgot to fill up the fucking plane?
It's all ball bearings.
Tell
these
me they
days.
got up in the air and figured this out. That we got to land in. We got to land in Waco here.
Can we use your gym?
Unbelievable.
You just make it happen. What are you talking about? You know? Yeah, give me. I like everything you said. No, yeah, the Yale team's better than they were last year. I mean, they have changed their dynamic of they play D, they score. I mean, they were dominant. I mean, they were not as. I mean, and the Ivy League was better, I thought. So just like it's too many points for Yale for this A&M team to. And I hate this A&M team too. Bothered me all year too. They would play with their foods, and then they had a huge home win, but then they would blow games that they needed. So. Yeah, give me Yale plus, was it 7.5?
Yep. 7.5.
Give me Yale.
There we go. Next up, we got the Drake Bulldogs taking on the Missouri Tigers in Wichita, Kansas. I was my first thought before diving into this.
Interesting crowd, isn't it?
Yeah, I was like, who gets the crowd here? So you got Drake over in Des Moines.
Mm-hmm.
Des Moines to Wichita, CJ. What do you guess?
All right, one train leaves.
Columbia, Missouri to Wichita. I think is shorter, but
everything's
much,
to Wichita,
right?
Huh? All right.
I'm just
Columbia to Wichita is very
close.
close.
I just assume that Columbia, Missouri is closer, but I think the Des Moines not that far away, right? So we could we get it 50-50, or is this going to be 70-30, 80-20?
320 miles from Kansas to Wichita to Columbia.
Okay.
What is the doubleheader? What's the last game? Texas Tech's gonna have a shitload of fans too. Yeah, I don't know. I think more Missouri, but I think there will be a little Drake following here at this game as well.
Yeah, I'm taking the points in Drake. I actually I think they're live in this one. I trust that Mizzou didn't play great ball down the stretch. Was not very impressed. They've been little pussies about storming the court, and to me, Drake. Yeah, honestly, they messed with the basketball gods. All right,
2-5 since.
And Drake is the epitome of basketball gods. They take D2 players. We don't need NIL. What, you give us lockers? Well, we never had lockers. Let's go. I'm all over the team that's hungry here. Give me the 6.5 in the Drake Bulldogs. The money line sprinkle is in effect because I got the Bulldogs moving along to the next round. Mac, what are you doing here?
I'm going to copy my exact handicap of the Yale A&M game. I think Missouri's athletes and their length wear down Drake throughout the game. And I think Missouri's able to dress it up late and win by 12. I remember Missouri a couple of years ago, I think it was against Utah State. They were definitely a trendy team to pick against. I think their athleticism and their style is hard to simulate when you don't see that type of length on a nightly basis in the Missouri Valley. So I'll lay with Missouri, laying the 6.5 here, but I'm really looking forward to this game. I think Missouri blows it open late.
Bieniek?
I was double checking. I think Drake has more positional size than Missouri.
They don't have anybody that looks like Mark Mitchell.
6'9" and also not 100%. That was something I was looking at. Was like, yes, Ben McCollum is another one of those guys that is flirting.
Smart Bates at the guard position. They don't have those wingspans that those guys have.
I will say though,
Drake has a handful of guys that are mid 6 foot guards.
Mizzou kind of struggled against Eastern Washington early in the year, and same with Cal, and same with Jacksonville State. So they got wins in all three of those, but those were close games.
This Missouri team did get better throughout the year. This is one of the tougher games that I had to pick. I was going back and forth. Yesterday I took Drake. Today, through a lot of the handicapping, I was like, I kind of want to go back on that, mainly because I really want to fade some of these mid majors that have coaches flirting with other jobs, and that is Ben McCollum 100% right now. And Dennis Gates won his first round game. That was kind of a coin flip last year in Utah State, but then got blown out by Princeton.
2 years ago. Yeah.
Sorry, 2 years ago. Then got blown out by Princeton. So I'm all over the place. I like Drake though. In another kind of 6-11 coin flip game for me, give me Bennett Sturts and Drake, the Bulldogs. They get it done. I think they win it on the money line, plus 6.5.
Let's go. I'm with you.
Yeah.
Bet Detective?
I mean, this is a classic March Madness game of styles. One wants to run, one wants to slow it down, And usually when that happens, I think the slower team wins the battle of the pace. I'm not saying about the game itself, but it's easier to slow someone down than Drake's not going to want to do whatever to run with Mizzou. Not that Mizzou can't play that way, but in their defense is just so bad. Missouri's defense, and it got worse. And it got worse and worse. It just became a joke. So that way, just for styles, I'll take the points, obviously, with 6.5, and I'll definitely be sprinkling a little bit on the Drake.
Let's go. There we go. Next up, we jump on over to Lexington, Kentucky, where Utah State, Jared Calhoun, great first season, taking on Mick Cronin, houseless Cronin. UCLA laying 5.5. Man, this is an intriguing one to me.
Yeah.
This is a really intriguing one. I actually probably hesitated more on this game than a lot of the other ones. My first thought was UCLA minus the points, but then I thought, man, this UCLA team's pretty fucking inexperienced. But then I'm like, well, Calhoun's in year one at Utah State. They've been shitty towards the stretch. The final 10 games. I feel like they've been all over the place. I'm going to lay the 5.5 with UCLA. I think they win by 7 or 8, but this is going to be, I think it's going to be a close game for majority of the game. But give me the Bruins. Mick Cronin grew up not far from there.
Where is this game being played?
Lexington.
Lexington. Battle of Bob Huggins, assistant coaches here. We got Cronin versus Calhoun. You know me, man. I love Calhoun. I just think from a size and athleticism standpoint, they're at a disadvantage here. And I think UCLA has seen. I don't know if they've seen really the Utah State zone. That's kind of unique, but they play against the Oregon zone that year in and year out. So I trust a good coach like Mick Cronin to figure out a way to scheme some stuff up over a couple days. I'll lay the points with UCLA. They've been really good under Cronin in March because he's a really good coach. So I'll lay the points with UCLA to go on.
Bieniek.
Yeah, this was a tough game for me to handicap. Kind of going to retweet a lot of what you and Max said here. I'll go UCLA, mainly because Utah State, I don't know if they're in the best form. Earlier in the season, if you would have asked me about this matchup, these two teams in January, I would have taken Utah State. But I think UCLA gets it done. Cocktail Napkins got it at minus 7.5. So let's go, Bruins.
I agree with you about months ago when I did bet my Utah State future early on. Early bird gets to worm.
Tough CLV there.
Yeah, terrible CLV. I got about minus 400. You can get them now to 120. I locked it in around 60. So, not the best usage of that, but I love this Utah State team. And then, of course, they fell off a cliff, and Colorado State became the team that I thought they were going to be. But I still like him here versus UCLA. I don't like this UCLA team. I don't care. Is Cronin going to bitch about now he has to go see the Churchill Downs as a tourist attraction? Where else does he have to travel and bitch and moan about? And saw the Statue of Liberty. Give me Utah State here outright. I don't even need the points. Come on.
Let's go, Bet Detective.
This coward UCLA team. I hate hearing them moan.
Love it. The Bet Detective all over Utah State and the money line.
Yeah.
Let's go. Next up, Omaha. Give me 2.
Utah, give me 2.
In Providence, Rhode Island, taking on Slick Rick Pitino and the St. John's Red Storm. The Johnnies are laying 18.5 in fucking Rhode Island.
All I know is we're hard-working, tax-paying people like that. And we don't take shit from nobody. You got that, asshole?
What murder?
The fucking union that works for you.
I'm laying the 18.5 with Slick Rick. Get this Omaha trash can beating bullshit out of here. God damn it. All right. Look, Slick Rick's familiar with Providence. He knows the diners. He knows the waitresses.
Slick Rick knows all about Providence.
That joint that you're talking about. What's that joint
Foxy
again?
Lady. Of course
he knows all about
that.
the Foxy Lady. He's at home here. He's comfortable.
Absolutely.
All over the Johnnies.
This is what they
win
wanted.
By 26.
26.
Yeah. I don't think Omaha's any good. All right. Let's go. What are you doing here, Mac?
2 years ago, I called Princeton. Last year, I called Oakland. The Johnnies are a kind of team with no tournament experience. I know they have Pitino as their coach.
Yeah.
Could they throw out a game where they go like 3 for 27 from 3? They get tight. I'm on Omaha, and I think you sprinkle 15-1 on the money line with these senior stars.
You dirty dog.
The old dirty dog. League. South Dakota State won the game before. North Dakota State's won the game before. Bang that trash can. Omaha money line, baby. Pitino out round 1. Kansas to the Sweet 16.
You dirty dog, because yesterday we were talking about this. Neither one of us mentioned it. And going back and looking at it, I was like, you know what? Circling the 1 or 2 seed that's most prone to maybe a loss here.
Yeah.
It's St. John's. And you hit on it like a little bit. They will 100% hit an offensive drought in the first half, and they could find themselves down at halftime. They've been a tremendous second half team, but I don't think you want to fuck with that with this roster because of the ability that, you know what? It could get tight. We saw them blow a 30-point lead to Baylor earlier this season. It can happen 100% in these type of situations. That was a MTE in the Bahamas or wherever the hell it was. I think Omaha, albeit they didn't win a lot of games, they were kind of a team that played to their competition in the non-conference. They hung tight with Akron, kept it within 10. They hung tight with UNLV. They hung tight with Minnesota. But then they lost outright to Southern Utah, lost outright to Alabama State, lost outright to Abilene Christian. I'm not painting like a game where I see Omaha winning this. I'm painting a game where I see Omaha losing by 10. I'll take the Mavericks here.
Rick Pitino, anytime he's had a team over 25 wins, has never lost in the first round. Or the
I
second.
love how you handpicked the over
Lost
25
Morehead
wins.
State once upon a time. Lost Morehead State.
Well, it's unfair to say that because Iona then would be the question. You know what I mean? Like they were going to lose in the first round. So
no, I was saying that one of his overachieving Louisville teams with Kenneth Farid on the other side, they lost that. I think they've overachieved because he's such a great coach. But this could be a sneaky spot off that Big East and doing everything.
Yeah,
I like that.
Dump the Gatorade big time. The entire
The old
fan
trash
base.
can banging.
You
Looking
sweep the
ahead
Big
to
East
Calipari.
regular season and tournament, and now you get a little bit of a hangover spot.
the only problem is Omaha's 268th in defense.
Oh yeah, 100%. I'm not saying this is a good team. I just
Back
said
it in
they
and hope
play
they
to their
miss.
competition.
And you
Also,
gotta
I really love this St. John's team. I'm hoping they don't fall here. I think they win the game by like 10, like I said, and then I'll be backing them until they meet Texas Tech. So it's only like that one game, but whatever. I'm rooting for the Johnnies, but I gotta see it first.
Rick don't lose in the first round.
No.
All right.
And this team was not built by NIL money, of course, as he says. It was.
Sure.
Yeah.
You got to know when you got to say the right things at the right time, right?
He said that
like,
with
give me some Jameson.
With that billionaire boosters right behind him with his heart full. No, he's right. Heart. Yeah, a lot of heart. I bought them that too. I bought them some hearts. They needed that. Get the fuck out of here. But I do think they beat the brakes off of Omaha here. I mean, I'm willing to lay 18, no problem. I mean, they're good. I mean, how do they even?
Trash cans.
Yeah, fuck them trash cans. They'd be better off shooting the ball into trash cans with this defense. St. John's. I mean, St. John's is just too strong for them. That's for sure. And like you're right, they can have shooting spells, but it won't matter with this lineup. Now, the next round, I do think St. John's is up right for an upset for sure. They're built for an upset, and they fill in that role that Ken Palm role of not being ranked preseason, being a 1-2. Yeah. I don't think one of those teams has ever made Elite Eight or something like the last 3 years. Sparty's the other one, by the way.
The other Ken Palm rule that they don't fit is they don't have a top 50 offense. So
yeah. So yeah, I'm ready to fade to St. John's, but not here. I think they continue this role, and and even if it is a tight game, 5, 8 points, 10 points, and then it's in that 3-minute span when they go on that run, it's just over with. And when they break it open, it's broken.
Oh yeah. Let's go, Johnny's. Folks, want to tell you the college basketball experience is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Yes, time for some bonus Underdog Pick'em. Underdog Pick'em, you can play in any sport and win up to 100 times the amount of money you enter. I touched on this earlier. The play-in games. Matt Rogers. All right, Matt Rogers. I like lower than 17.5 points in that AU Mount St. Mary's game. And the other side of this, RJ Davis will get his higher than 15.5 points. I know San Diego State's a great defensive team, but I just think Davis knows this is the game for him. He will get higher than 15.5 points. It might be on a bad percentage, but it will happen. So take that. That's some of the edge you can find. Underdog Fantasy, I believe you can find an edge that you cannot find elsewhere. I know you were telling me that before.
I was.
So sign up, and when you do, sign up with our promo code TCESGPN and claim your special pick plus first time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus credits. It's bigger than college hoops too. They got college football, they got UFL, CFL, NFL, MLB, NBA, NHL. I mean, the NHL guys are killing it on their stuff there. Cannabis Capper's been writing a lot of great articles for best plays for college hoops. Shout out to Cannabis Capper. Check it all out, though. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code TCESGPN. We're also brought to you by Edge Boost. Yes, SGPN has partnered up with Edge Boost, the premier Visa debit card for bettors. An Edge Boost card allows you to avoid the hassle of having your card denied at the sportsbook, DFS site, sweepstakes site, racetrack, or casino. I've seen my uncle go into a few racetracks where, trust me, he wishes he had an Ed Boost card. Plus, you can earn up to $750 per month in cashback rewards for using your Edge Boost card. And your money is safe as the card is FDIC insured. And the best part is no credit checks. It's completely free. They're not going to know how big a pile of shit you are outside in the world. All right. So sign up for Edge Boost and enter our free $2,000 bracket contest at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/bracket.
Wow.
That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/bracket. Get on over there. Edge Boost. All right, we are back, and we got a few games left.
We do.
UC San Diego, Michigan, Bieniek.
I wouldn't even call it a few. We've got quite a few. We got all of the NIT to go.
Yeah. And then this one right here.
Fire. This game is unbelievable.
Denver, Colorado, the Tritons of UC San Diego taking on Dusty May. Unbelievable. Just cutting down the net. Winning the Big Ten championship, the conference tournament championship in his first season at the helm there in Ann Arbor. Michigan is laying 2.5. I know it's chalky. Give me these Tritons. The only thing I worry about is the bigs, but I think the Tritons can. I like the fact that it's in Colorado. I think that's a break for them. And yeah, Michigan did it. I love the whole fact they cut down the nets. I feel like there's a psychological thing there of like, hey, we just won the Big Ten, and now you take on a San Diego team that is, I think, super underrated. So give me the Tritons to win this thing outright. Mac, what are you doing here?
Yeah, and I mean, Michigan just won 3 straight as an underdog out in Indy. Outright, moneyline dogs, 3 straight days. Now they're laying points. Short number against UC San Diego. I think, yes, Michigan will be able to control the backboard, but UC San Diego is going to be able to turn them over. I know everybody turns Michigan over, so that's kind of beating the dead drum. But I also think they can make shots from all 5 positions, so they're going to be able to drag Golden and Wolf away from the rim. And the other thing is these dogs traditionally have been really good in Denver. So I think that this is another altitude underdog that's going to win outright. I'll take the Tritons to beat Michigan, who's overachieved and had a hell of a year, but Michigan's a team I profiled that I wanted to fade come March. So, yeah, give me the Tritons, UC San Diego.
Bieniek, I know on these very airwaves, I think you said UC San Diego Final Four the other day, but then they drew Michigan. What happened? What are you doing here?
I said UCSD to the Final Four yesterday too. So
there we go.
Not thrilled about the matchup. That's for damn sure.
You shouldn't be. Bullshit.
So just going into the match, I think this is everybody's favorite game too. Like Colby mentioned, I listen to a lot of podcasts and they all kind of say the same thing as like, oh my God, this is the chalky upset of the week. But then you go and look at some public percentages, whether it be ESPN or Yahoo, and you look at which teams the public are taking on the money line to advance in their bracket. It's not UC San Diego. You're just listening to people that are, creating content or early. The public, the people that you shouldn't be tailing, is the ones that are running to the window the night before or the morning of. So UC San Diego does play a little bit of a zone. If you want to be on the Wolverine side on the against the chalky play, Michigan should be able to rebound it pretty dang well against that UC San Diego zone. In the Big Ten tournament, they out-rebounded, I think it was Maryland, 41-18. Ridiculous commitment to the glass by the Wolverines there. And that's to counteract the big turnover issue that they've had throughout the entire season. UC San Diego, the second best team in creating turnovers with that zone. I just think that it's going to be a little bit too much because, they have the shot making to turn this thing into a shootout. I don't necessarily think that Michigan wants that with the way that their offense has played. Even with the couple of wins that happened in Indy, a couple of them were rock fights and not pretty games. So I'm a big fan of Tate Jones and McGuy in that backcourt. I've been preaching to this audience about this Tritons team for a while. UC San Diego, I think they win it. The cocktail napkin agrees with me. Has the Tritons just plus 1.5 here in this spot. And also kind of leaning towards the not going to lean, but my pick on the total would be an under. I just think if there's one way that Michigan, if they're going to scout UC San Diego, you do not want to run with this team. So
there we go. A Michigan fan, even on the Tritons. Wow. What could go wrong? Bet Detective, what are you doing here?
Well, I'm also on the Tritons, and I don't care if like that was a good point about the people that are on it are the people you don't want to follow. The public doesn't know that UC San Diego is the best covering against the spread team all year long. Like,
I didn't even know
Michigan
that either.
The Big Ten. Yeah. And they were on
Michigan with the Big Ten. They're taking Michigan.
Exactly. And you know what I mean? And I wouldn't be crazy for it. But but UC San Diego, I think, is a slightly better team. I like them. They have men from all around the world on this squad. This Division II team a couple of years ago, like from Argentina, from Greece. Like, these guys have lived lives out there. They're not going to be rattled by anything. It all sets up perfectly with Michigan playing all those games and cutting down the nets to the Big Ten title. And they've been fraudulent all year. And they did in a good tip of the cap for rallying and winning that tournament. I think it sets up perfectly. And you know what? You're going to have a lot of common upsets when you're talking about March Madness. We're all looking at the same sheet. We're all looking at the same things. It's a common factor of these games that we all have to pick from. So the public's gonna be right, public's gonna be wrong. Doesn't matter. I'm taking UC San Diego outright, no doubt about it. And I have them going pretty far myself. Noah, I like this whole bracket. I think this whole side of the region is ripe for upsets.
You have them getting past Auburn?
Yeah, I have Auburn going down. I have Louisville beating Auburn. But
I will say that Michigan has kind of been that 2022 Providence team, a team that really struggled, to make a statement and get everybody's approval. A lot of people saying the team has been lucky. How many wins within 4 or less points this year? It's
right.
kind of a crazy record for Michigan. So if it's a tight game, I kind of, in a way, you have to like that. So
sure.
Michigan's going to win by 2. Take the points.
Yeah, they don't win by more than 4, right? Versus anybody. That's the sort of thing, no matter who it is.
A Vlad Golden tipping at the buzzer. Michigan wins by 1 or 2.
All right, yeah.
It's been 2 different teams. Like the non-con, they were blowing everybody out by 20. They were putting up 80 points a game, and in the Big Ten, it's just been totally different. So, all
right, well, give me the 2.5. Lay the money line with Michigan.
They have lacked the consistency all season long. A big reason for that has been Trey Donaldson. He was great.
We lost you, buddy. We lost you on the audio.
Something happened there.
I still have you guys. Is it them, Mac? Yeah.
I think it's Mac too. I don't know what happened.
I think it's you guys, idiots.
I don't know what the hell happened. We're back.
They're back. They're back now. It wasn't the soundboard. You guys went out.
You guys are back. We were here the entire time.
We're gonna have to let the audience. We're gonna have to let the audience figure that one out because from our end.
Yeah, we were talking fine.
Yeah,
no,
maybe not to the world, but to us, we were having a great conversation.
I was just saying the reason that Michigan was inconsistent all year, point guard play. Trey Donaldson, he's a big roller coaster this year or this week. Great week in Indy, but it's been inconsistency.
All right.
Final game on the slate for March Madness, the NCAA tournament right here. Wilmington, UNC Wilmington, the Seahawks taking on Texas Tech, the Red Raiders in Wichita, Kansas. Texas Tech is laying 15.5 points. You might even be able to get a 16 out there right now. Damn, that's a big number. Look, I'm kind of high on Texas Tech, and obviously Darian Williams and Chance McMillan. Game time decisions, Mac. Of course they are. They're playing this one. They got to be playing this one. I'll take the points at Wilmington. I think Texas Tech's going to win, but I think it's just Texas Tech by 10. Wilmington's, I think, got enough talent to stay within that number. Yeah. Mac, what are you doing here?
I'm with you, man. I think I'm going to take the points with Wilmington. They got senior guards. They got some shit to them when you watch them. They pass the eye test. I don't think they're going to be overwhelmed by the Texas Tech athletes and size. They went to the Fog earlier this year, and they lost by 18. But that kind of got blown open late. So a team, Takayo Siddle finally gets over the hump there. I think Tech wins by that 10 to 12 range. So I'll take the points. And I'm interested to see what they do with McMillan and Williams. I think they need to play a game and get their feet back under them and get going so that they're ready for this round of 32 game. You don't want to bring guys back for the round of 32 game, in my opinion.
No, I kind of agree with you, Mac. This Texas Tech team I've loved the entire year. A good reason for that is they've been missing players left and right throughout, and they still maintained track and are a 3 seed this season. But that first game, when you do plug in a starter or two back into the lineup, it's not necessarily as smooth. And you want to do that against one of these higher seeded teams in the first round. I think Texas Tech is good enough defensively. Grant McCaslin, great defensive foundation as a coach. They're going to be able to get by this one, I think. But I don't love the fact that they're probably plugging in 2 players that have been hurt for quite some time lately. So I'll take Wilmington and the points, but Texas Tech wins this one comfortably.
Yeah, I think it's also fair to say sometimes I think when you play in your conference game and you know your conference opponent so well, like it when you step outside of that, sometimes it's interesting. Like you look at their non-con. This is a team that lost to St. Joe's. Yeah. Syracuse kept it within 5. DePaul kept it, somewhat. They lost to A&M. It's interesting. It's just an interesting. They do have some blowouts too.
The only mid-major they kind of flirted with disaster with was St. Joe's, then they lost. But all the other mid-majors, they kind of, pantsed them.
I still consider UCF a mid-major. UCF got them, but
they beat the shit out of them. I love it. That was random as hell.
Yeah. They can pound teams.
That detective.
I remember
4 points is beating the shit out of them. I like this Texas a lot. I think they're Elite 8 quality.
Yeah, they're nice. I remember them beaten by Arizona State by like 30 points, and they beat Colorado before that by like 16. Like that was like a couple of weeks ago or so.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's, I mean, you know, they like I said, they are Elite Eight quality. They're a top team, but I think this number's pretty accurate. I'll take Texas Tech to go away with this. Stretch it out.
There we go. All right. Well, look, that is that part now.